You there, Rob? Right, okay. Right, well, first off, what's the vehicle again? Okay, and how bad do you think it might be? Right, okay, all right, all right. Oh, right. Which is unusual, yeah. All right, well, let's assume there is. And now what we've got to do is protect ourselves from the fact that see, when you get a snake camera and look right down at the guts of that cooling system, have a look at the internal walls of that water jacket. In vehicles vehicles that have sat around for that long, 15 years or so, the water content of the coolant, even if it had coolant in it, the water content would have evaporated over time. And then you're left with sort of water lines in there where it rusts above the water line and not below, but you end up getting reasonable build-ups. Now we do. Pretty bad. No, that's right. Yeah, gotcha. All right, well, the first thing we've got to do is protect ourselves from all those pieces of shale and scale, because when you get that snake camera down into the guts and have a look at it, generally what you find is that you've got layers of ferrous oxide down there. You've got the top layer. Yeah, beautiful. Okay. All right. We'll put the beautiful. Okay. Well, the filter sock's got to go in place to start off with. Once you've done that, take the thermostat out, because the more flow we got, the more turbulence you create, the more heat you put into it, the faster it happens. So it doesn't hurt. It doesn't help at all. It just this great big restriction in place with that thermostat in there. So now, once you've done all that, work out what your literage is, and it's about 10 litres, something like that. Yeah. All right. So all you do is get a bucket. Put 10 heap spoonfuls of Part A into the bucket. Now you can be very generous with it. Just heap them in. Don't level them off. Just heap them in. Then some hot water. Now all we need is hot water out of a tap or boiler jug, but about 2 litres of hot water. Don't fill the bucket up. Just give it a mix up until it's fully dissolved. If you put cold water in there, you'll be there forever trying to dissolve it. Yeah, pour that into the empty cooling system, and then top it up with a garden hose. Put the cap on. Right. If it's got an expansion tank, just put a bit of water in the. No. Okay. Then the next thing is just to idle it up to temperature as many times as you can over, say, a 2-day period. Now, to know how long to leave it in there, it's difficult to work out. You can't guess at it because you don't know what the condition is. It could have a dusting in there, could have a real build up in there. The more of a build up, the longer it takes to clean out. So what we're going to do is go on colour changes in the liquid. So just leave the liquid in there for the 2 days. And after the second day, what you do is you look at the colour of the liquid. Now, when you mix it up in the bucket, it is clean and clear. It looks like a bit hazy, but it's just clear water. Then within a day or within a couple of hours of running it up to temperature, and not trying to kill it. We don't want to go past centre. We just bring it up to temperature, then let it cool, then start it up again after it's cooled, and do that again and again and again over a 2-day period. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but this stuff is 10 times more aggressive at 70 C or above than it is at room temperature. So the more flow you got, the more turbulence you create, the more heat you put into it, the faster it happens. So now we're going to go on the colour changes of the liquid. So within a couple of hours of running it, it's had that big reaction with the top layer of ferrous oxide, the soft furry stuff, the stuff you can peel away with your fingernail. It breaks that down very quickly. Now, when that breaks down very quickly, that's where the shale and scale is embedded. A lot of the shale and scale, the harder little denser pieces, come adrift, and they're the bits that we're going to pick up with the filter sock in the top tank of the radiator. So having that in place is imperative, because otherwise it would just get straight into the fruits of the radiator and just exacerbate the problem, tenfold. So now once you've got that, once you're running it and you see the brown scungy look, well, you know what's happening. But as soon as you get past that top layer of ferrous oxide and you're down to the harder, denser layers below it, the colour changes and it goes more like an amber liquid, like a pissy yellow colour, and then the closer you get back onto the cast iron and the less you've got to react within the cooling system, the clearer the liquid becomes. All right, so with the original dose, yeah. All right, so when it starts to go clearish, it'll never go clear again. It'll never go glass clear, because there's mud, there's sludge, there's clay, there's all sorts of other things that will discolour it, but it won't be rusty red colour. It will be more like a dirty clear colour, right? So then you drop the part A out. Now all the part A's done is it's just dissolved the calcium and broken down the ferrous oxide, but it's broken that ferrous oxide down into those iron salts we spoke about the other day, and those iron salts they've gone through this chemical reaction to get to where they are, and they've taken on what they call a molecular attraction of metal. They're clinging. They want to stick to every little nook and cranny within that cooling system. Some of it will come away, but not very much. That's why there's a part B. Right? So you can sort of run your finger along it, it'll come off. If you blow it off with a garden hose, it'll come off with a garden hose, but you don't have enough power in that garden hose to sort of blow it off the internal walls of the water jacket. It just doesn't happen. So, no, that's right. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to react it chemically. So that's what the part B does. Now, all you do now is drop out the part A, flush it every which way you can, but don't be too zealous with it, because a lot of that stuff's not going to want to come away easily. Then make up a solution of the part B in exactly the same way as you did the part A, with a bucket and the hot water again, the same number of spoonfuls. Pour that in, top it up with a garden hose, put the cap back on, run it up to temperature 2 or 3 times or more if you want, and then let it sit overnight, and then bring it up to temperature in the morning. Drop the part B out. Now, part B neutralises the cleaning action of the part A, brings your pH back to neutral, gets rid of the debris you generated using the part A. The debris being those iron salts. Now, those iron salts will react yet again, so they've gone from ferrous oxide using the part A into iron salts, and now the part B reacts with those iron salts. They go from an orangey colour, like a red rusty colour, to a black colour. They lose that molecular attraction of metal, and they are more free floating now within the cooling system. A lot easier to get it out at this point. B also is that alkaline soap-based compound, and as such is a reasonably good cleaner. So it gets rid of all the other stuff, the mud, the clay, the sludge. Now when you drop the B out, I think the B in your case will come out black, and that's where most of the debris will want to come away. And then you just flush it until you think you got it all clean. Now it looks like you've got it all clean, but it probably won't be. There'll be still iron salts left in there, and the way to get to those last of the clingy iron salts is use your water pump like a fire hose. So all you do is you fill the cooling system up, leave the cap off, and then run it. And then before it gets too hot, don't want to get it hot, because we want to do this multiple times. Just get it up so everything's in suspension, quickly turn the ignition off, drop that bottom radiator hose, and then when it's empty, reconnect everything back up again, fill it back up with water, and do it again. And do that, you'll probably end up having to do it 3, 4 or 5 times to get it totally clean. But as I said the other day, the best way that you can judge whether it's clean or not is to get a saucepan or a bucket and then when you disconnect that bottom radiator hose from the radiator, drop it into the bucket on an angle or a saucepan. Now, because water's coming out, but all these iron salts are coming out. The iron salts are heavier. They'll find their way into the bottom of the bucket. The water will. Yeah, that's it. That's perfect for it. And then have a look at what comes out, and then you say, okay, that's how much came out this time. Second time you do it, it's like half as much, and the next time it gets less and less and less until it's just like little bits and pieces coming out in the end. Now, what you can also do, just to be on the safe side, it's everything we do and say, we try to go on the side of caution. You can run it with water just take it for a drive with water for a day or so before you put the coolant back into it. Yeah, because that's going to release any little bits that didn't come away because the water pumps weren't going to be working harder, and this is all with the thermostat still out before you right now. Because as I said before, if you put coolant into it that still has these particles in there, a little bit's not going to make any difference. But if you're going to clean it, you probably want to clean it properly. But a little bit's not going to. Yeah, but a reasonable amount in there is going to discolor the coolant very quickly. All right. Oh yeah, dead. It will, I'm sure. All the best. Talk to you soon, Rob. All right. Thank you. Bye bye then. Bye bye.